Hello, Scream Demons, and welcome to the Screams from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey.
This is a horror podcast in which two horror fans discuss all things horror, including news, recent watches, horror collectibles, and more.
I am one of your co-hosts in this apocalypse. I am Casey.
And I'm Sam. And
let's get screaming.
Get screaming. All right.
Get screaming. Sam, we're back. We're back with the brand new episode. We're back talking about two movies that are much like this, what we're doing right now. They all take place on computer screens, just like this podcast does. So if something spooky wooky happens on this show, like one of us gets like supernatural powers that can somehow type messages to the other without one of us knowing, it's because we watched the Unfriended movies.
Yep. We watched both of the Unfriended movies.
Both.
And we have thoughts.
We have thoughts. We have a lot of thoughts about this. Unfriended. These movies have been on our internal list. We have like an internal list of episode ideas. That's like 50 topics long now.
It is. It's so long.
I feel like we just keep adding stuff to it. But this one was like within like the first like 10 ideas that we had on that list. So like it's been on there for a while. So it was finally time to, hey, we're going to pull the trigger. We're going to do the Unfriended movies. We were both like, we're due for rewatches on these. Yeah. It just so happens we didn't plan this out. that this lands on election week here in the United States. Most of our listeners are United States based. And we all know what happened that night. So I feel like this episode has become a little timely in a way. We're not going to go. We're not going to become like a political podcast or anything like that. But we are going to say something here at the top because this has become timely because I feel like I've done a lot of unfriending in the last couple days, or at least reconsidering what I want in front of me.
Yes, agreed. There's been a lot of hate being thrown around, and I want to say that this podcast is a safe space for any woman, any person of color, anyone in the LGBTQIA family. We love you guys. We're with you, and unfriend those people who
unfriend those people. I'm sure most of those people don't listen to this type of show anyway. Because we don't really invite or welcome racist, sexist, rapist, homophobic people on this show. If you are one of those people and you just so happen to stumble upon this podcast, get the fuck out. We don't want you here.
Yep.
So
big time.
Unfriended. Before we even friend you, you're unfriended. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go away. All right. Now that
with that out of the way,
let's
have some fun.
Let's have some fun because this is going to be a fun one. We're all friends here now. There's going to be no unfriending on this one because I think you and I talked a little bit beforehand about these movies. We're both on a similar page. On both
I think we're both on similar pages, yeah.
But I am so happy that we revisited both of these movies.
Yeah, same.
Because I hadn't seen these since I saw them in theater. I saw them both within the opening week or two of these coming out in theaters. And so I hadn't watched the first Unfriended in almost 10 years. Unfriended Dark Web I hadn't seen, and that one came out in 2018. So
18, I believe, yeah.
I haven't seen that in like 6 years. So it's been a while for both of these movies. Yeah. But Sam, let's jump into these movies. You had seen both of them before, right?
Yes. I don't think I watched either of these in theaters, but around the time they went out on streaming and stuff, I watched them.
Yeah.
So like I watched them within a year of them coming out. And then I hadn't revisited either of them until very recently.
Yeah.
Like this week.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember a lot about Dark Web in the theater. I just don't. I didn't remember a lot about that movie in general. Just that I didn't like it. Like I remember the river. Like, and we'll get into the river in the movie.
Oh yeah.
I like dark web stuff. I don't like go. I've never been on the dark web, but I like looking up stuff on it. And I just remember the river because I'm like, that is something you would find out there. But the first movie,
Yeah.
I remember because I watched it when I first moved to Sioux Falls in the theater. And I remember I was
Okay.
off to the side with one of my buddies. We watched this movie and we're like laughing the entire way because it's like, this is so dumb. It is.
I mean, it is. Like, yeah, there's no.
It's a dumb movie.
Yeah.
It's a dumb movie. But
Both
also,
of
like,
these are, but.
This was my first exposure to, I think it's called Screen Life, is what people are referring to these type of movies as, where you have like the Den is really the first one that did this big time.
Yeah.
And then you have these
that one's terrifying.
The Den is terrifying. We should do that at some point.
We should, because that one's
actually, it might be on our list. I might have put that on.
I think it already is, actually. Yeah.
I think I put it with our buddy Nick Simon's Untitled horror movie, actually, because they're so different.
Tonally so different, but yeah.
But like this, Unfriended is like the Paranormal Activity of Screen Life movies, though. Like this is the one where it's like, sure, there were ones before it and there's ones since it, but it's like this is almost the Godfather of these movies. Not like the movie Godfather, but the forefather, the originator of this, the most popular. I'm not comparing Unfriended to the Godfather, but it's definitely like the originator of this. I might compare Dark Web 2 to Godfather 2. I'm totally kidding. Totally. Maybe Godfather 3.
Yeah, maybe Godfather 3. I haven't seen any of the Godfather movies. I just know the general consensus of them. I know that 3's the bad one.
I like that one. It's not bad. I like it. It's better than these two movies. But Sam, you ready to jump into this?
Yeah. I honestly didn't remember much about either of these movies, to be honest with you. And yeah, we'll get into it. But I feel like my reactions to them on rewatch are almost like the reverse of what my reactions were to them on first watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
My reactions, I think, are about the same.
Okay.
So when we get to our scores, I went back because I remember I used to do every year. I would post on Facebook my ranking of the movies I saw in theaters that year. My score for the first Unfriended is exactly the same as my score that I gave it 10 years ago.
That's fair.
Unfriended, 2015, directed by LeVar Gambrandisi. I've not heard of this gentleman before. He hasn't done much since then. Written by Nelson Greaves. Again, this wasn't like a kickstart to many careers for some reason. We can definitely get into that. But the plot of Unfriended is on the anniversary of their friend's death, a group of annoying-ass teenagers join a Skype call that is possessed by their late friend who looks to enact her revenge.
That's all there really is to discuss about this movie.
That's it. All right.
That's pretty much it.
Unfriended.
That's what happened.
2018. No. No, a lot of
a group of even worse characters.
I don't agree with that.
What? Oh,
I absolutely do
no.
Not agree with that.
Oh God, the dark web people are so much worse.
Oh, they're just bland. Versus
maybe that's why it was.
The Unfriended people are just all of you suck, die.
Oh yeah, they're all terrible people.
Yeah. So like the movie opens, and I remember the cold open to this. And the movie opens with their friend Laura Barnes, who's gonna be our main antagonist, I guess. She's the protagonist of this movie. Who are we kidding? She's the one that possesses their Skype call somehow, some way. Somehow Laura Barnes has returned. It opens with her unaliving herself.
Yeah.
Like right away, like a school video. Like someone was recording her
in the weirdest way.
Herself at recess. It looks like they're at recess, but
yeah, which is weird because they're all like high school seniors, right?
They're in California. They like have lunch outside because they're the cool kids that can do that in California.
It's just it's a really tasteless and mean scene, and it kind of just sets the tone for exactly what you're gonna get through the rest of this.
It's a mean movie.
This is like the meanest movie. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that about it.
Yeah, so I like this movie.
I do too.
I don't love this movie,
Yeah.
but I like this movie, but I also don't like this movie, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Like I love the concept. I want to talk about the concept. We're doing the screen life. This movie is all on our main character. Did I write her name down?
Blair
Blair.
Lilly.
Blair is our main character.
Yeah.
And she's just high school girl. Like that's her character. She
Yeah.
has her MacBook pulled up, and she has like Spotify open. She has like iMessage open. She's messaging her friend. She's listening to music at the same time. She
has
jumps
way
on
too many browser tabs up.
way too many browser tabs, way too much stuff on her desktop. That drove me
Yes.
nuts. The entire movie. She has just shit on her desktop. Maximum 5 things on your desktop. 5 things.
Hey, dark web takes care of that.
They do. But yeah, she had too much stuff.
Yeah, way too much.
Just floating on her desktop. I don't know how you find anything. I don't know how you find your Spotify to pull up some like Hot Shell Ray in 2015 when you're doing that. Like I don't understand that. Yeah. I don't understand that. What I also don't understand is like she gets on a Skype call with her friends and like continues to listen to music. Mm-hmm. Like shut your music off.
The sound in this movie is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
have you where the like friends like all of a sudden they're having a conversation in the background of her screen and just like lowers their volume and her music like comes back. It's very strange.
Yeah. It's so weird. And I'm just like, that's not how it works at all. Like,
no.
I understand from a sound design perspective why you would do that, but like figure out a way to like, I don't know. It was weird, and it kind of drove me nuts the whole time because every time she pulls something up and the conversation cuts out, I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah. So, okay. So I was doing some research on the movie. There are multiple edits of Unfriended.
Yes.
So this movie came out 2015, was shot 2014, but there are multiple edits of this movie and multiple versions of Unfriended. One of those versions does include that dialogue. Still, like the volume of the dialogue in the background is still at its normal level, and you can hear everything, even when she's like typing out messages to her boyfriend or typing out messages to Laura Barnes' account. Like all that stuff in the background, you can still hear. And I want to see that version because I feel like that would still work because then you're still picking up on stuff that the friends are talking about.
And it might make some of these, I don't know, because when you're coming in and out of their conversation, like it does feel like you're missing gaps of like development. Like all of a sudden they're talking about something different and you're like, well, how did they get there? And like, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. It's just that it does feel like for chunks of the movie you're trying to play catch up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, logistically, probably could have been solved with her just hitting mute on the Skype call, like instead of just pulling up Spotify and clicking another song and then that song just starts playing because that's what they had available. But it's like, I don't know. It's a very strange the stylistic choice that is. But also I feel like this movie is very much a time capsule of 2015.
Yes. Like, the mid 2010s, like it nails it.
It nails
it.
Yeah.
The cyberbullying, the old Facebook layout. I mean, Skype. Like no one uses Skype anymore.
I know. The old Instagram is not like early Instagram, like before Meta. Obviously before Meta, but before Facebook bought Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's like it's a time capsule of the internet and internet culture, even like just
old
the way
YouTube.
People are. Yeah.
I miss that YouTube so much. Like I just kept seeing like her suggested videos and it was just like cat videos and stuff. It's like, where's that YouTube? Instead we get stupid things about Joe Rogan's podcast or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like
it's always
I want cat videos. Bring that stuff back.
Yeah.
But it's a time capsule of this era, and obviously it's a era we know it's only 10 years ago, but it's an era we know very well, like post high school, I guess. Also, this takes place in 2013, so like that was the year I graduated high school. You had just graduated, so like
Yeah.
we're very much in the same age range. We went to high school with these kids in this movie.
Yep, and I mean, it's not like we got out of high school and we stopped using Skype, like,
Yeah,
even after high school, we were still using Skype and Facebook, so, like, this is all stuff that's very our generation, I feel like.
yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah,
And I think it does a great job of capturing that.
yeah, for
Like you
better
said,
and worse, like, it's not particularly pleasant to watch all the time because of that, but yeah.
yeah. And again, it obviously the big overall story is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying's bad, okay? Like
Yeah,
that's the overall
that's the
message of this
moral
movie.
message.
It's like, yeah, we
I
knew that.
mean, it's a Blumhouse movie, what do you expect, though? Like
Yeah. But yeah, it's a movie about cyberbullying. I think it does a good job of saying why that's bad. I also think it's a good revenge movie of like, okay, this is what happens when you do that. Your hand goes in a blender. You
Oh, yeah,
swallow a curling iron. That's what happens to you.
and then get memed about it.
And then get memed about it. Like the top bottom meme. You get memed on it.
You get memed on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I like about this movie is I do think it's very mean and like I think the kills are pretty inventive.
yeah,
Like you're not expecting that when they start to happen. Like
yeah,
the first person to go is Val. This person that's sort of I think in their friend group, but like she's on the like periphery of their friend group. She's not in the Skype call right away.
yeah.
And all the friends realized that I guess basic plot. These friends like is it five friends? Five friends.
There's, like,
Get on
5 of them. Yeah.
five of them get on this Skype call and there's like a mystery account on the bottom. And no one knows who it is. They can't get rid of this account. So they try multiple different ways of getting rid of this person. Meanwhile, our main character gets messages from her friend Laura Barnes,
Who's been dead
and
for a
who's been
year.
dead for a year. And they were like best friends from childhood. And she starts receiving messages from her Facebook account. She thinks it's hacked. So when they get back on the Skype call with these 5 people, that account is still there. So they invite their friend Val on, who they all think, hey, it's Val sending these messages. Like she is somehow hacked. I always hate that when people said, oh, my Facebook got hacked. It's like, no, someone found your
Yeah,
password. It doesn't mean it's hacked.
yeah.
It's
No one
it's
had to
different.
hack that hard. It's
Yeah.
always people who it's like, "No, you just have a very easy password."
Yeah. Don't type password 123.
Yeah.
That
Don't
doesn't
put
mean you're
your don't
hacked.
put
That
your
means you're an idiot.
don't put your dog's name and your year of birth if you have pictures of your dog with its name and your date of birth on
On
the
on your Facebook. Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Val hops on and she's the first one to go. She's just there to die, basically. And that's where
Yeah.
like we start getting like infighting between each other because someone shares pictures of Val, right? Or the other friend.
Yeah.
One of the
I
other
think it's
friends, right?
Val or what?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, Val is the one that is getting, pictures posted of her, like,
On
smoking a
everyone else's
bong,
Facebook. Yeah.
getting drunk, like, getting wasted, and yeah, and everybody it's popping up on, like, everybody's.
Yep.
Um, I one of the things that I like about this is, like, whenever they try to, like, delete, report, block, any of that stuff, I love how this movie just does the simple thing of, like, "No, block button's just not there." Like, to me, that's just it's such a singularly frustrating thing, but it's, like, a frustrating thing that works within the context of the movie because it's, like, it's a haunting. It's not gonna let you just block it on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I kinda love that. It's playful almost and
Also
still very, very fucking annoying.
yeah. Yeah, it's like you can't remove them from the chat. You can't block them. You can't try to she like tries to what's like memorialize.
Memorialize the page.
I
Yeah,
don't know if that was an actual thing
it
on
is.
face. Is it?
Yep. It's
Okay.
100% a thing. I've seen it done with unfortunately, I've seen it done, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's a real thing. And that doesn't work either. So I love the real world context it does to like, oh, here's all the things that you would try to do, but they're not gonna work because it's a ghost.
Mhm.
Also, like even the thing of like, oh, just log off the computer. It's like, well, if you do that, the
The
ghost literally
ghosts
says, you're gonna die. Like, you're gonna die if you get off this chat.
Yep.
So there's no way out, and I do like that, and it's like a technology way of like you're in a like the equivalent is like you're in a haunted house, but like the door is locked and you can't go in the basement, you can't go upstairs, and you're stuck here. It's the like equivalent, like the technology equivalent of that. It's really clever. I think that's one of the most clever things about this movie is how well it uses this technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorite lines comes in right about this point is when they they realize that the account on the bottom of their Skype call starts typing a message to all of them. They all think it's a glitch in the Skype. And one of the guys is like, he's like, well, the glitch is typing. I don't know why. That line makes me laugh. Well, the glitch is typing. It's funny. It makes me laugh.
Yeah. There's one moment in the we'll get to it later, but in the Never Have I Ever scene that I had to pause because I was laughing so hard, and that was not I don't know if that was the intention actually, because I'm like, I don't know how you write that line with the intention of it not being fucking hilarious.
Okay, what is it? Because we're about right there. We're about to the Never Have I Ever.
Yeah.
I hate that scene so much. Oh my god.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I don't know, like, the initial concept is cool, but it goes up to 11 and then it just stays there for way too long, and it's like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I love when the infidelity is revealed, where Blair has slept with whatever the douchey guy's name is.
I wrote him down because I have a joke about him. Adam.
Okay. Adam, yes. And like Adam's trying to explain himself and he goes, Mitch, it was my birthday. And Mitch goes, yeah, I sent you a card, you fucking piece of shit. Like, what? These are two teenage high school boys talking. I don't know about you, but I never sent my friends a birthday card.
Actually, I would give them birthday cards, except to be like happy anniversary or like sorry for your loss cards on their birthday.
Okay, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
No,
never never sending my friend a birthday card.
I mean, the way he's talking, this was a sincere birthday card, you know, like
it was like he invited him to his birthday party and there was like cake there and he gave him his card like happy birthday.
I don't know, that like in the middle of everything, in the middle of all their like friendships blowing up, that little exchange, I just lost it. Oh my god.
Yeah, there was I'm trying to remember I wrote down a joke and now I don't remember the context for it. It deals with Adam. So Adam sleeps with Blair is what we find out during this, and that's kind of the biggest thing. Well, these characters are just the worst. Like all they do is yell at each other during this stupid thing, and like,
oh yeah,
the boyfriend. What's the boyfriend's name?
They call each other
Mitch.
Things like
Mitch is like a Mitch is a bitch. Like in this movie,
yeah, he's awful.
Like, he's the guy where he's like, I'm gonna unalive myself. Like if you break up with me, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
help.
He definitely gives that vibe.
Yeah.
Like it is
I
just
think
like
he says that at some point.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. So like Mitch is like the worst character, I feel like.
Adam is
Adam's pretty bad, but like I feel like at least like Adam
normal high school bad person. Mitch is like, yeah, you should probably go to therapy.
Yeah, Mitch is kind of dangerous, I feel like. I'm like, no, you're really good at acting normal in front of people, but you're a fucking freak in real life. Like you're an American Psycho, like waiting to happen.
He gives off Evan Peters vibes in the first season of American Horror Story.
Oh yeah.
I would say the only friend that like, again, he doesn't fit in this friend group, and it's like, why are you there? Is Ken. The guy who gets his hand in a blender. And it's again, he's the funny fat friend. Like that's the archetype he's obviously playing. I don't get why
he's the one that knows tech and all that, so he can download the programs that help him find this person and all this.
Both of these movies have those guys in them.
Yeah.
Why does he have a blender in his room? Because he's fat?
Beats
Like,
me.
that's the joke? Like
He's fat and he likes what? Smoothies?
like
Like,
smoothies? He's trying to, like, drink fruit smoothies to better his life and get all his nutrients in for the day? Fuck him. You fatty. Yeah. What? I don't understand. It's, like, right next to his
yeah.
desk too. Like, I don't know.
Makes no
It's so weird.
sense.
It makes
Or
no
did he
sense.
go to the kitchen? Did like Laura possess him and he went to the kitchen and he picked up a blender and brought it all the way back to his room, plugged it in just so he could blend his hands and then smash it and then throw his throat
And
onto it.
throw his
Like
throat on it.
that kill's
It's
amazing.
an incredible kill. Yeah.
So what's funny is I watched half of this before Maria got home. And then she got home and I had paused it and it was right before the blender scene. And she was like, "Yeah, I'll watch the second half with you." And we sit down and I play it and less than 3 minutes later, the kid Ken offs himself with the blender and she goes, "Oh my god, what is this?" And I was like, I mean, it's Unfriended. It's
Mhm.
rated R, which also that shocked me. I thought both of these movies were PG-13. And especially so, like sorry, going back to the opening
Mhm.
where, like, Blair and Mitch are maybe having phone set like, they're getting ready to have some, like, Skype not really sex, but, like, it's
Yeah.
clear that
She
they
was gonna take
both
her top off. Yeah.
yeah, she was gonna take her top off, but then she doesn't. And so for me, that says, "Oh, this is a PG-13 movie. We can't show boobs." And then, like, less than a half an hour later, there are people getting, like, throats ripped out by a blender and fuck, fuck, fuck all over the place. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, this is rated R." Like,
Yeah. Definitely
I don't
rated
know.
R. But yeah, but I mean, talking about horror during this time, nudity was not a thing in horror movies. Like when we
That's true.
like from us in high school, even kind of till now, like nudity in horror movies has gone down a lot.
Yes. That is true. I feel like the last, like, big there was a ton of nudity in it was, like, probably '09 with, the Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah.
That's, like, the last one that I remember
At
being,
least for
like
studio
for
horror. Yeah.
studio, like, mainstream horror. I feel like that was kind of the death knell of that. Um, which that movie's nudity is, like, kinda tasteless, so it's like
It's a Michael Bay
yeah,
produced movie.
it's a Michael Bay movie, but yeah.
Another great kill that we get here is the other girl that's in the call, Jess, who
Yeah,
Jess and everyone's terrible. None of these people should be friends. Like
no.
they none of them would have lasted in their friendships post high school anyway. So it's okay that they
No.
die. But Jess gets like a curling iron shoved down her throat, like opposite end of sleepaway camping with
Yeah.
that kill. But yeah, she like just gets a curling iron right down her throat.
Yeah. It's gnarly too, and then, like you said, you have the top and bottom text meme
Yep.
made out of it, like, that's such a like, it's such a kind of darkly funny punchline.
Yeah. How does I'm trying to Adam just shoots himself
Yes, Adam shoots
because he has
himself
a
because
gun at some
Blair
point.
yeah, he gets a gun out when all of this starts happening, and they tell him, like, "Oh, you're gonna shoot yourself."
And he does.
And he does because Blair, Blair just totally throws him under the bus and reveals the note that says, "If you reveal this, Adam will die." Which is like, "Oh," I'm like, "For Mitch of all people?" Like, she did it to save Mitch. I'm like, "Let Mitch die."
Yeah.
He's
Well,
going to anyways by
he
the end of the
does. Yeah.
movie. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so I mean, so does Blair. No one survives this movie. Everyone's a goner.
yeah.
We get the big reveal at the end of the movie uh that Blair and what Laura were friends back like when they were kids, had some sort of falling out apparently, or Blair is
Well,
just a terrible person. Probably
yeah, it
Blair is just a
seems
terrible person
yeah. Blair it's revealed that Blair is the one that took the initial video of
at a
Laura
party.
and at a party, passed out and bleeding.
Yeah.
Um, and, yeah, it's just such a fucking mean ending, like but I kind of admire the balls of, like you already kind of get the idea that Blair is not the perfect person that she seems to be, you know? Like, she's kind of positioned as the goody two-shoes of the group, but you know something's a little off, and, like, when it's revealed that she slept with,
Adam, yeah.
fuck is Adam, yeah.
Adam, yeah.
When it's revealed that she slept with Adam, it's like, well, that's bad, but also she's a teenage girl. You know what I mean? Like, that happens, I guess. But, like, to then reveal that your final girl is the cyber bully,
Yeah.
like, she's the worst one of the group. Like,
Oh, for sure. I
and,
remember my joke. I remember my joke for Adam now because the
oh, okay.
reveal of Adam and Blair together is that he was filming it for some reason,
Yeah.
and they like fast forward through the video,
Yeah.
and like from him like taking his pants off to like him like getting back up. I can't like it's 39 seconds. So
Yeah.
that's the joke. He lasted 39 seconds.
I mean, she even says something to that effect, doesn't she? And, like,
Yeah,
it pisses him off while they're all yelling at each
yeah,
other in the Never Have I Ever.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool
Uh,
concept for a scene, just not very well executed, I
no,
think.
no, no. So like I was again looking up research on this. They improvised a lot of this, and so they
Okay,
all
I can tell.
yeah they shot this in
Yeah,
one house. So they were like all in different rooms in this house, and they were all on like a actual call together, and then they had the cameras like right above it.
right.
Uh, but yeah, they were encouraged to improvise a lot, and yeah, you can see that quite a bit, especially in that Never Have I Ever scene. I think
Yeah,
that's the most glaring where
and
it's just they
unfortunately
kind of just start yelling "fuck you" at each other, and that's kind of all they do, and just yell. Like
yeah,
it's
they're
bad. It's bad.
they're not very good at improvising is the thing. And, like, I kinda get it because, like, I can't imagine, like, I know that's kind of what we do because we just have a conversation off the cuff, but, like, improvising as far as, like, trying to tell a story
Yeah.
over a computer call, like, that's
But Sam, I got you a birthday card.
Casey, it was my birthday.
Isn't that
I d
okay? It was
I
my birthday.
deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, these people are terrible.
They're all terrible. They all die. It ends with
I don't know.
okay, we got to talk about how the supernatural abilities work in this. So the movie ends with Blair like
However,
Blair
it
thinks
fits
she
the
gets away
scene.
with it, and she's like, "All right, I'm done," and it kind of like pulls out, and then you see like Laura close her laptop and come over top.
Yeah. Great final jump scare.
Great jump scare. It's the
Yeah.
one shot outside of her computer screen.
Yeah, and it
Good
looks
stuff.
good.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, how does Laura's powers work? What do you speculate? Like, what was the incantation? I assume her parents did to turn her into a cyber ghost.
I don't know. Ale do computer. Give
Puss
me
it.
the give me the Wi-Fi, I beg of you.
It's just like Wi-Fi, Facebook, YouTube. It's just saying like all the apps she needs to possess.
Just all the apps she needs to possess. I
Yeah.
don't know, man. It's so funny. Like, what did they do? Go on ouijaboard.com and invoke the spirit of their daughter.
You use your mouse like as the planchette. Just
Yes.
is Laura here? It moves. But it's
Uh,
on like it's like on her Facebook, and it like moves over to her picture.
yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know. I
understand. It's never explained. Probably doesn't need to be explained because then I think it'd be even more. There's no good
so
way
that
to explain. There's no good way to explain why she's possessing all of her friends' computers. And at one point, like this account that she's on is in Ken's bedroom. So like, is there like
yeah.
a laptop there also in his room?
Yeah, that's never fully explained either because he, like, goes and looks,
And
and it
there's
doesn't
nothing.
seem like he sees anything. So I don't know. It's just it's almost like they can see from her point of view when she wants them to, which is strange.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This one is supernatural. So like all of that stuff kind of matters less. It's a like
Both of these
because
movies
it's
are supernatural.
supernatural. No,
No, they are. Well,
the second one is firmly based in the stupidest fucking reality you can imagine. Like
it's
the
more
second one,
supernatural than this one.
it should be, but they make it not supernatural, and that's the worst part of it.
Sam,
Like,
you just don't know how the dark net works. You get these
oh
abilities, and
god,
we'll talk about them. Okay, so
I hate the
Unfriended. I don't
second
know.
one.
We don't know how this works.
Spoilers.
We don't know how the supernatural abilities work. I think
No.
we can figure out the dark web ones in a second. But like I said, there's multiple versions of this movie of Unfriended. There's a different edit. There's a different ending to this one as well that I don't know if they ever shot, or maybe it's just an alternate ending. They also have shot like multiple different ways on how Laura dies, which is interesting.
Really?
So there's different versions of how she dies, I guess.
And they picked that one.
And that's the one they wanted to shock the audience right away, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that decision.
Yeah. This movie was made on a budget. It says about $1 million, probably less than that for this one.
Yeah.
Gross 62 million worldwide, though. So big money maker for Unfriended in 2015.
Yeah. No kidding. That's pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
You know, these actually have better critic reviews than I remember too. Like neither one of them are actually that terrible as far as aggregate scores on Rotten Tomatoes and things like that.
What is the Rotten Tomato score on this one?
It says 62%.
I was gonna say 62. I swear to
and
God.
I think that's around the same as Dark Web is, which that's insane to me, honestly. We'll get into that, but yeah.
We'll get into that.
So here's something that I found just scrolling through the Wikipedia page.
Okay.
The Criterion Collection at one point added the film to their streaming service in October of 2023.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Where's that Criterion release for Unfriended? That's what we want.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the Jennifer's Body one. They put that on the streaming service a couple Octobers ago, and no deluxe Blu-ray of that one.
Yeah. What the hell? Criterion.
Come on, put out some good movies for change.
Yeah. Get rid of those boring dramas. We want Unfriended.
Give us more Blumhouse.
Yeah, give us more Blumhouse movies with iconic lines like the glitch is typing.
Or it was my birthday, Mitch.
It was my birthday, Mitch. I got you a birthday card. Iconic lines.
Oh my god.
All right, Sam, how many spooky supernatural cyber ghosts are you giving Unfriended?
I gave Unfriended 3.5 spooky supernatural cyber ghosts. I actually liked this one quite a bit more than I remembered. When I first saw this movie, I did not like it. I was like, this is dumb, this is bad. And I don't necessarily think I was wrong, but like it's kind of a fun type of dumb and bad, to the point where I was like, and frankly, like there were a few scenes that did have me pretty tensed up, even while I was thinking, how is there a camera angle there? You know, like little stuff like that didn't matter as much. I actually really enjoyed this one. So yeah, 3.5. And a mild recommendation if you like teen horror with reprehensible characters, just to watch them die. Yeah. What about you, Casey?
Yeah, I gave it the same score I did in 2015. Gave it 3 out of 5, 6 out of 10 back then.
Yeah.
It's fine. This movie's fine.
It's
I
fine.
think the concept's super cool. The Never Have I Ever Seen is really what, like, all right, I'm over this movie. I think the final stuff is fun, but like that's where I'm like, all right, let's keep moving. This scene is bad. Move on.
But at least this movie is only like 80 minutes, which is nice. I do like that. It does not overstay its welcome too much. That scene goes on too long, but I think the movie as a whole is a pretty decent length.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to the future. not so distant future of the Unfriended universe to 2018 with Unfriended Dark Web, directed by Steven Sisko, also written by Steven Sisko. The movie centers around Matthias, who joins his friends in a Skype call. Were we still using Skype in 2018? Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, it hadn't quite gone. It wasn't until about 2020 when Zoom kind of took over the Skype thing, I feel like.
Yeah. So he joins his friends on Skype for game night on his new laptop that he soon discovers that this new technology in his possession is something dark. Dark web, that is. Unfriended dark web. So it starts with, again, takes place all on Matthias's laptop screen.
Mm-hmm.
There's him trying to hack into this account on the laptop, just trying like different passwords to get into this laptop. So he tries like password 123, QWERTY, like all the things you would expect. Types in Covfefe. What a timely joke that was, and unfortunately is now. He eventually gets in. He signs into all of his usual apps on this computer, signs into Skype and Facebook, and gets on Spotify, as one does, and just puts on some tunes right away. Aren't they? Okay, so both of these movies are on Apple
music taste,
are on Apple laptops, right?
Yes.
Why aren't they using iTunes?
That is a good question. That is a really good question, because they would have obviously had to like get permission from Apple to use the layout. So like, why would they not have just, I don't know. Maybe they figured they could get more money if they got Apple in on it and Spotify in. I don't know. Maybe they're, I don't know. That's interesting though. I didn't even think about that.
I was gonna say, when I had a MacBook, I was like, I'm iTunes all the way. Like, why would I download Spotify?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think nowadays that's a lot more common where like people with iPhones just have Spotify as opposed to Apple Music. But yeah. Interesting. Also, hold on a minute. You know that unspoken rule, like, you know how it came out that Apple will not let people use its phones in movies? Like, it won't let villain characters use phones. How does that work with this? Like, are they not as protective of the MacBooks? Because, like, I'd argue that both of the people that own the MacBooks in these movies are either reprehensible assholes or reprehensible morons. And it shocks me that they're like, no, bad guys can't use our iPhones, but someone who cyberbullied a girl to death can use a MacBook. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I'm curious how they got the permissions, because again, they're using all the real stuff in these movies, like we said. Like, they're actually on
Facebook,
and actual Apple products, and actual Spotify, and actual music on their Spotify, and like, it feels legit. Like, whenever this movie doesn't, but I think the last one feels more legit than this movie.
It does.
I don't like this movie.
I'm not gonna lie. So for years, dude, I have said, oh, I don't like the first Unfriended, but Dark Web's pretty good. I completely 180'd. Like, I was like, oh, like, Unfriended is pretty good. This movie did not work for me at all on this rewatch, and I hate saying that. Like, I was genuinely excited going into both of these. I'm like, I bet they'll be fun watches at least. This one is like, this guy just fucks over his entire friend group. Like, that's it. The worst scene for me is like the kill your gays scene with the lesbians, and like literally having the one at home have to make like a Sophie's choice between her mom and her girlfriend. And
her mom, like, that's like introduced right before that.
Yeah.
Like, your mom has cancer.
So ridiculous. Your mom has cancer and she's on her deathbed, and like,
now choose.
now choose, and then she won't, so they just kill all 3 of them. I'm like,
also, there's a pretty logical choice in that. Am I wrong?
there's a very logical choice in that, and I hate to say that because that sounds cold,
I
but
mean,
I'm like,
you kill the mom that's in the hospital already. She looked like she was
she
moments
wasn't
away from going on her own.
she wasn't going anywhere. Like, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, they literally say that earlier in the thing. They're like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, my mom's not gonna make it out of the hospital or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, so put her out of her misery."
Pull
Like,
the plug.
what? Like,
Yeah.
it just made no
Okay.
sense.
Okay. Let's get into this movie. We have to get in this movie because it's so stupid.
Yes.
I hate it. I hate this movie. It's so dumb. But I can't wait to talk about it. Okay. So this movie sets
Also,
up.
like,
So,
congratulations, people who made it, because it's hard to pull off a movie, and you guys did it.
oh, I had a blast watching this movie. It's
I did too.
terrible.
I actually had a fun time with it. It's really bad.
This movie's really bad, but I can't wait to talk about it. Again, it's not the poop.
It's
The mystery. It's the mystery
poop.
behind the poop. And I'm sorry, dark web people. We called you movie poop, but it is what it is. This movie came out 6 years ago. You're fine. Whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
So the basic premise is, like I said, Matthias. We find out that he finds this laptop. It was in a lost and found at like this internet cafe that he goes to. This poor broke person who had a shitty computer goes and hangs out at this internet cafe because he can't afford Wi-Fi like a proper adult.
But somehow knows how to build like elaborate computer programs that translate voice into sign language.
Yeah, he has a good app there. I wonder if that's a real thing.
That actually is a pretty good idea for an app, and I'd be surprised if someone hadn't made a real life version similar to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we find out that his laptop belongs to a Charon, is what they call these people. Charons are these people who take place, do stuff on the dark net, on the dark web. They all are a part. They're a part of the river.
Souls to the underworld.
They carry souls to the underworld, like dark, mysterious human beings that they are, and they hop on this 8-bit program that takes you on a little canoe ride down a river with tiny flames coming up. And you're on this river forever, it seems like. But basically, like it's his access to the dark web, and that's what him and his friends find out. Also, this is super weird. This is 2018. Like, were you ever doing game nights with your friends on Skype?
No, this feels almost prescient. This feels like it should have been made
like
in 2020,
movie.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like it should be a pandemic movie. Yeah, 100%. Because like I can't imagine trying to play Cards Against Humanity over Skype.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Even if you're going to do a game night over Skype, why would you pick that game?
Yeah, you're on a computer. Like,
you're on a computer. Skype has games.
Play World of Warcraft like a normal human being on your laptop.
Play like a computer game. Skype literally has like checkers and chess and like things that you like multiplayer games that you can play together. Like that, it made no sense when all of a sudden they're like, we're bringing out and all of them have their own box. I'm like, how does that work?
You all bought Cards Against Humanity?
Like all of you have Cards Against Humanity, and
how much did Cards Against Humanity pay to be in this movie?
Oh, that's definitely the reason that it's in this movie, is because it paid.
They paid for it.
Because otherwise, like, why?
I want to see the proper version where they're all playing like RuneScape together. Like, that's that one guy especially, like the nerdy tech one. He still plays RuneScape.
The one that's in London, but still gets offed by this network of dark web people.
The Charons. The harbingers of death.
I don't get this movie.
Okay, so Sam, believe it or not, it's not how the dark web works.
No, what?
IRL. Yeah, it's not how that works.
I'm broken.
I know. I'm sorry. But the dark web, those hooded figures might come and get me for saying this, but that's not how that works. You don't like join the dark web and like get magical abilities that allow you to hack someone's entire computer programming and be able to. The thing that gets me is the Charon sends messages through Facebook through the girlfriend's account. The girlfriend's, she's deaf, that's why he has this sign language account, and he starts sending messages to the boyfriend, to Matthias, through her Facebook account. And then those messages like
glitch out and
glitch out and disappear.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not how that works.
No.
That's not how that works. Also, like, anytime they're around technology, it glitches out. It's like, they don't have like magical like electro powers where like technology around them glitches out.
It glitches. Their like voice is modified. They're talking like this.
Yeah. You better give me my laptop back.
The best part of this whole movie is when the glitching just miraculously stops because they're like, okay, we have no need for this anymore. So the glitching's just going to cut out. And it's just this whiny guy with a pedo stash going like, oh man, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me, man.
Hey man, that's my laptop.
I'm like, what? This is the worst reveal ever. Who would be afraid of this guy? Just tell your deaf girlfriend to kick him in the nuts and run away.
Yeah, that's the part when this really starts to lose me, is when they invade the girlfriend's house and like take out her roommate.
They take out her roommate, yeah.
She doesn't notice them behind her or anything, and then they like just hide in a closet.
Yeah. And then, I mean, jumping to the end, when they abduct her, I'm like, yeah, when they abduct the girlfriend, I'm like, she's a moron. Who does that? Who just walks into an empty building? I don't care who's texting you this. If I
sent me this address, I'm going in.
Like, if Maria sent me up, if I got like a pin from Maria's phone and I showed up and it was just some abandoned building, I'd be like, nah.
This isn't where you would want me to meet you.
I was like, no, she wouldn't want me to meet her here.
Yeah. So this game of it's a game of cat and mouse, really, between Matthias and the Charons, the Darknet people.
Yeah.
Where Matthias has their laptop, and in exchange for giving the laptop back, the Charon's gonna let the girlfriend live, and the girlfriend has to make her way to Matthias's apartment, and they got to meet up. Basically, the laptop will have to get to the Charon. The girlfriend will be fine. So what does this dumbass decide to do as leverage, even though he already technically has leverage in that situation where he has the laptop, he has possession of it. This dumbass decides to transfer $10 million in Bitcoin to his bank account. Because
what a moron.
Then they will have to release another girl that was kidnapped.
Yeah, which is so like I'm just like, dude, every decision that this character makes is wrong.
Yep.
Like, you stole a laptop from a lost and found. It was super easy to get into the laptop. You found a bunch of snuff videos, and then you still tinkered around with it instead of, oh, I don't know, taking it immediately to the police station. Like, what? All of his friends are dead because he just couldn't stop being a nosy little bitch. I hate this guy.
Yeah,
I wanted to kick him in the nuts from minute one.
This guy is just dumb.
And you know what? Blair has better music taste than this moron.
Oh, this moron has a terrible apartment, terrible music choice, terrible life decisions. He's not a bright fella. He's not a bright
He's not a bright fellow. He's kind of a terrible person. Like, I don't know. This is going to sound over dramatic, but I would hang out with any of the kids from Unfriended over this guy. Except for maybe Adam. I wouldn't hang out with Adam over this guy or Mitch.
I wouldn't. No. I would still pick this guy over most of the people in the first Unfriended.
I'd hang out with any of the three girls over this guy. And Ken.
And definitely Ken. Ken's the best character. Like, he's the most rational out of all the friend groups, all the friend characters. Yeah. But so the thing that gets me in this one, like I said, is this guy is a dumbass. He's just a dumbass. In all accounts, again, You find snuff films on a laptop that you stole from an internet cafe. What's the first thing you do? You don't go play Cards Against Humanity with your friends on Skype and log into Facebook and start
He's like
going.
logging into all of his stuff. That was
Yeah,
the
he
other
goes into
thing.
the other guy's Facebook.
He goes into the other person's Facebook. Then when stuff is already, he's logging into stuff on his own accounts all over the place. I'm like, you are giving them all the information they need. What are you doing?
Yeah, idiot.
The first thing you do if you're ever going to steal a laptop is you fucking wipe it. Like, you wipe it.
Don't just start logging into your. He didn't even change the password to log into the computer.
Nothing. He doesn't
do
change
the user.
And the password is a question mark, which is the same as its username, which is a red flag.
Yeah.
Like, the big reveal is that this was a bait computer because it literally says on the ID bait computer. And I'm like, no shit.
If he would have done the most basic thing of like erasing the memory from it and creating a whole new user on it, he would have seen that.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Idiot. Okay. So the thing
the premise of this only works if the person is like a 70-year-old.
I want to see that
like,
version.
Oh, I'm just gonna get on my Facebook on this computer.
Yeah. I want to see that version. I want to see the like Unfriended that takes place in like a retirement home.
Unfriended retirement home.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a bunch of old people going like, oh no, my bank account is gone.
Yeah. It's just them like sharing terrible memes of cats on Facebook.
Someone hacked my Facebook.
It's just some granny poking people on Facebook the entire time. Grandma, stop. Okay, so the girlfriend leaves and she hops on a subway and they find out like as the subway is underground, like her internet connection goes out. And whenever her internet connection goes out, that means the darknet Charon person's does as well. So what's the bright idea he has? To not call 911 when they're not tracking him.
Yeah.
What
his friend does though. His friend is the only one that like Nari is the only one that takes any kind of action.
She should not have died in this movie.
No.
She deserved better. She luckily got better in like
the lesbians are innocent.
They are innocent. They should have survived this. Luckily, they ended up in better Blumhouse movies. At least one of them did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Get Out.
Because she's in Get Out, yeah. It was so funny. When she first popped up, I'm like, oh, I've seen her, but like as an old lady.
Yeah. She's the old lady on Facebook.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
We're just gonna cast her in a Unfriended retirement home.
Yeah, it's the grandma of that character.
Yeah.
No, so like the internet goes out when they're in the subway, and he just does not decide to call 911. He instead just decides to tell his friends, "Hey, by the way, all of this stuff that I've been showing you is not a game. Like I've been telling you, it's IRL. Like this is happening for real."
Like, also, every friend that believes the game thing is stupid.
All of them.
It was just a game. I'm like, no, don't buy it. And in fact, the only person that doesn't buy it is Nari.
Yep. Also, the one, the other friend that we need to talk about is, okay, so this is a weird friend group. We got to talk about all the friends, I guess. I want to talk about all the friends. So the first friend that goes is the like music producer.
Yeah.
She makes music. She ends up like getting pushed off her building.
That's so weird.
It's so weird. Someone filmed it and they sent it to the chat.
Someone filmed it with their own camera, but the Charon that pushed her off the roof is glitching out.
Yeah. Because they get magical glitching powers, Sam. When you get on the dark net, you get magical glitching powers.
Okay, but happens. Like this movie is clearly set in reality.
Yes,
and it's not reality. A supernatural movie.
In our reality, you log into the darknet one time, Sam, you're getting magical glitching powers because you found your way to the darknet. Try it.
I am usually not one to like harp on what I consider nitpicks, but this is one of those that just bothered me throughout the entire movie, and I could not get around it. I
The
couldn't.
suspension of disbelief does not exist in this
No,
in
and
this movie,
because
unlike
of
the
that,
first movie.
unfortunately, like, none of this had any tension for me. Like, I didn't care because I was like, this is
Stupid.
preposterous."
Yeah, stupid.
Uh,
The other friend, AJ, and he's the character that's like, I'm not on the grid, man. Like they can't catch me. I live in my mom's basement. Yet he has like a YouTube show.
he has a YouTube show. He's on a Skype call.
He's
He's
on a
got a
Skype call.
Facebook.
Yeah,
We see his Facebook.
yeah.
Like, what does he mean he's off the
He's
grid?
off the grid.
There's
He's
nothing
not.
about this kid who's off the grid. Like,
Yeah,
he is the most on the grid person ever. Like,
and and
he's like
apparent.
his YouTube videos are about current topics. Like,
Yeah,
he's got like a current event show basically.
yeah. It's like he's like this Alex Jones type like conspiracy person on
Yeah.
YouTube.
He's just
And
like a
anyway,
teenage Alex
yeah.
Jones.
And the Charons, they apparently can't. They're not all with all their glitching powers. They couldn't glitch into his computer apparently, and they couldn't figure out where his IP address is coming from because the movie doesn't want to. Instead, someone calls in a like bomb threat at his house.
No, they call it a bomb threat from his house to like a children's museum or
Something
something.
like that. Something like that. But like that, the call was coming from his house,
Yes.
from
Yeah.
him,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they like altered his voice from that Skype call. Again, dude, you're not off the grid. If someone can do that.
Also, it sounds so fake that I'm like, would they even have? I don't know.
Yes, they would, Sam. They would show up
Yeah.
there with the SWAT, and as soon as
Never
that
mind.
guy,
What am I thinking?
as
It's
soon as
the
he,
police.
it's the police, he walks up and like starts walking up the stairs, and they just shoot him right away. Like
Well, they play the
they play the
shotgun sound
over
through his
the
loudspeaker that's set
over
up
his
earlier.
loudspeaker that's set up in like it's Chekhov's speaker.
Yeah, it's Chekhov's speaker. It's so dumb.
So stupid. This movie is dumb.
Uh, yeah, so they play a shotgun thing, and you hear the SWAT guys go, "He's got a gun!" And they just like mow the kid
Blast
down,
him.
and I'm like, "What is this?
Yeah, yeah.
this is this is terrible." Like, I don't even know. Like, I think that was the moment where I kind of just this movie lost me entirely. Where I was just like,
Oh, it took
nope.
that long? Yeah, mine was as
Okay,
soon
it
as
didn't take that long. I think I had already like so Maria didn't like the second half of the first Unfriended enough to where she was like, I don't think I'm gonna watch the second one. So I watched the second one on my iPad with my headphones on. And I think I paused it 3 different times before that scene even happened and looked over at her and went, "This is terrible." It takes so long for anything to happen in this movie, for real.
it,
Like,
it does.
it's not paced as well as the first one at all.
And again, when stuff happens, there is zero tension to it. It's almost
Mhm.
like it's you're laughing at the movie,
Yeah, it's
unfortunately.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even again, you get to the scene where they have to choose between the the girlfriend and the mom. And
Yeah.
again, it's like just choose your girlfriend. Just choose
Also,
your
it
girlfriend.
just feels unnecessarily mean. Like, and I know we just praised the first one for being mean, but like those characters were mean and then got meaned on, for lack
Yeah.
of a better, wording.
Well, one of them got memed.
Yeah,
Memed
one of them
on.
literally got memed on.
Yeah.
But like these people, aside from Matthias, like
Oh, he deserves it. The rest of them don't. They were
the
all
rest of them don't. Like the rest of them were literally just like,
so
especially the lesbians who were literally just like, "Go to the cops," and he didn't listen to them. I just what
so
the
what
fuck?
again, I like okay, so jumping to the end of this, I like the reveal that this is a game night, not only for these friends, but it's a game night for like the darknet people too. Like they're taking bets on people dying and stuff. Like that's
Oh,
a
you like
fun
that?
that's a fun concept. I don't think it's like I don't know if that works in terms of like a screen life movie.
No. I don't think it does.
It works in terms of like a movie like Rat Race, where like that's what they're doing is like taking
Yeah.
bets on these type of people. Like if it was in a traditional narrative, I think that's a cool concept. But like I don't think it works unless you're on like the darknet person's. If we're, I guess we are watching their computer screen, but it's
But
Matthias's
that's
screen. Yeah, it's a
yeah, that's the
reveal at the end.
reveal is like it keeps backing out and like you realize the computer screen you were watching was on another computer screen.
Yeah,
And that was a big setup for this whole game that they're doing. And like in concept, you're right. It's very cool. In execution here, it's a little underwhelming where it's just like, well, yeah, duh. Like
yeah,
you already kind of figured that out when it was like, should Matthias live? And they have the poll running.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like this movie is,
It's got a lot of ideas. It just doesn't.
yeah,
I don't know, just doesn't know where to put those ideas.
yeah. It doesn't know how to assemble those ideas into something coherent and satisfying. I feel like,
Yeah, and it tries to build like emotional stakes in these characters. Like it tries to build up Matthias and is it Amaya, his girlfriend, right?
hmm
Yeah, it tries to build up like this relationship between those two, and it just
oh, their relationship is like a
is
non-starter.
say
Like it just doesn't.
it's a big old nothing burger. There's nothing there to latch on to. It's really unnecessary for the movie. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
literally, like Nari and oh, what's the other one? What's the blonde's name?
Is it Serena?
Serena, maybe. Serena, yeah, yeah. Nari and Serena, like those two have a more believable, real relationship
Yes.
than the main like I don't know. I'm gonna keep harping on this, but they should have been the main characters of this movie. They're the best characters. They're the only ones with any kind of common sense. Like, what gives?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. With this movie. Okay, so the ending again ends with Amaya like just going into this warehouse where she gets kidnapped, and then
Yeah.
Matthias gets run over by a van in the
Oh,
middle of
and
the
the
street.
and the girl that they kidnapped, they planted in Matthias's apartment so that he'd take the fall for their crimes, but it's also their game night. That's what I mean. Like their motivations are just all over the
Yeah.
place. Like, is this a setup for him to go to jail? Because you just killed him. Like, what are you doing? Like, and they just hit him with a van and that's it. It's over.
Yeah. And like the friend like the British friend ends up hanging himself. And
Yeah.
they'd like type up a note on his computer and that says like me and my friends did all this stuff.
We're
We're the charm.
terrible. I can't live with it.
I can't live with this. Like, again, there's so many different things going on. Like you said, are they trying to frame Matthias for kidnapping this girl? Are they trying to frame the British guy for like killing his friends and himself? Like, what are they trying to like steal? Like, are they having Matthias steal this money and then they're going to take the money from his account? Like, what? What is this? Is it just a game? Like, what is this about? It,
Yeah.
it's never fully explained.
No, it's just it kind of
It, le-
it
it
lands with a
leaves
wet thud.
It does. It leaves us in the dark, so to say. The dark web
Leaves us up a river with no paddle.
with no paddle. All right. Well, some trivia on
So dumb.
Unfriend. So is this movie. Some trivia on Unfriended Dark Web. There's actually two different endings on this. Apparently, some different theatrical screenings show different endings. It just ends with him dying still, and then one is the girlfriend dying. I don't know. Who cares? Unfriended Game Night was the original title for this movie, but guess what movie came out in 2018? Game Night.
Way better movie. Way better movie.
More fun Game Night, that's for sure.
Way more fun game night. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, made on a budget of about $1 million, only grossed 16 million worldwide. So that goes to show there was not there wasn't many legs left in the Unfriended series after that first movie. And again, this movie made only $16 million, not enough to obviously garner a sequel. No talks of a sequel currently. Yeah. So it's just, I feel like this is probably not I wouldn't be shocked if somehow, some way, Blumhouse revisits this franchise down the road.
Yeah, because there are other Screen Life movies that have done really well.
Yeah.
Recently, even to
Searching.
where I feel like, like Searching and Missing. I feel like both of those were pretty high regarded. Searching is actually fucking incredible. I love that movie actually. Yeah, I don't know. Like this one is not the best Screen Life movie. But like I do kind of love Screen Life as a concept, and when it's done well, even if it's kind of a dumb movie but done well, you get something like the first Unfriended, and it's like, oh, this is fun. Like I like this. And not that Dark Web isn't fun at times. It's just also like every time you start having fun, something else happens, and you're like, oh.
That was dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are much better Screen Life movies out there. Obviously, the first Unfriended is much better than Dark Web. Both of these remind me of, there's a very underrated one that I think is getting a bigger feature film release, because the first release was about an hour, maybe less. It was called Live Scream. And I think it came out in like 2018, 2017, 2018, something like that. I think it was only an hour long, but it was on like a video game live stream.
Okay, like I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it was a horror movie on there. I don't even know if it got a release ever. I know we played it before we even were doing the film festival at SuperCon. We showed it at SuperCon.
Oh, like wow.
As a random screening there. Yeah.
Interesting. That's really cool.
It was really good. So if that is I'll try to see if that is somewhere. I would highly recommend that. But Sam, are you going to highly recommend Unfriended Dark Web?
This is killing me because like I never set out to do this podcast to just like slag on a movie and then say I don't recommend it. I was really looking forward to watching this. Like I said, I had a really good time with it back in like 2018. I don't know if I'd recommend this movie. I don't know what I'd even give it for a star rating. Like probably like a 1.5 to a 2. Yeah. If you like Screen Life and anything that we've told you seems like you might enjoy it, go for it, I guess. But like, I'm probably never gonna watch this one again. Might throw on Unfriended in another couple of years though. Like, it's fun. I would revisit it.
If you're looking for a movie that is 100% accurate to how the dark web actually is, highly recommend Unfriended Dark Web, because exactly how the dark web works and is exactly the supernatural abilities that you will get if you find your way onto the dark web. You heard it. That Screams from the Basement approved. Hop on the dark net and you will get supernatural abilities like in this movie, like being able to send Facebook messages without either person knowing you sent those Facebook messages. It'll happen.
Just insane.
I give this movie 2 stars. I still think it's one of those movies where it's like, yeah, this movie's bad, but like it's also like really fun to talk about this movie. Like,
it is, yeah. I mean, we clearly had a lot to say on it, so take that for what it's worth. Like,
it's one of those movies you will talk about after watching it. So I have to give it that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's never bored with it. So that's the biggest thing with the movie. Don't be bored. Never bored with Unfriended Dark Web.
I was never bored in the second half. I'll give it that. First half is a little slow and a little rough to get through. But yeah. Back half is dumb but decent.
Dumb but decent. Unfriended Dark Web. All right, Sam. Well, that's our Unfriended double feature. You know what we forgot to do, because we were just so damn excited to talk about Unfriended Dark Web.
We forgot to do our Fangoria ad read between the movies.
We did. So we're going to give you, we're going to give you 2 back-to-back ad reads. So sit back, relax, and join us on Fangoria. Yes, Fangoria. Fangoria for over 40 years has been the leading source for all things horror. The famed magazine is back with a vengeance every quarter with new in-depth discussions on the best contemporary horror, sci-fi, and macabre. You can use our affiliate link to save 20% on your annual subscription to the magazine. You can also use that on back issues and the latest Fango merch. Please visit shop.fangoria.com/screams from the basement and use our promo code screams from the basement at checkout to save 20%. You can scan that QR code if you are watching us on YouTube to get there, or again, go to shop.fangoria.com/screams from the basement and use promo code screams from the basement at checkout. And those notes are in our description of the podcast below.
Yeah. All right. Our next ad. Are you looking for that extra buzz while watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? How about melting your mind with a little bit of David Cronenberg? Well, Turp Boys Delta 8. Turp Boys Delta 8, 9, and THCA gummies, vapes, chocolates, and more has you covered. This plant-based product is made from only the purest organic hemp-based extracts and backed by third-party laboratories. Now, if you want to get some of these Turp Boys, you can go to buyturpboys.com/screamsfromthebasementpod and use promo code screamsfromthebasementpod at checkout to save 10% off your order. Pretty good deal. Pretty good prices.
Shout out to the Turp Boys from the Basement Boys.
Yeah.
All right, Sam,
what's next? We don't know ball, but we know Turp.
We know Turp. Hashtag we know Turp. Sam, what's up next on the pod?
Oh, it's time for my favorite question. Casey?
Yes.
What have you been doing lately?
Hey, speaking of Turp Boys, this movie, I could have used some watching this movie. So, movie night at the house. We were looking for something spooky to watch. Obviously, so me and Kayla have very different versions of spooky. Kayla likes that supernatural jump scare spooky. I like shit like long legs. And anyway, I looked up all right, jump scare movies, like best jump scare movies, and like we had seen 95% of them. That's the tough thing about trying to find movies for me to bring to movie night for Kayla to also enjoy. It's like we've seen like most of these like that are going to scare us, and it's becoming tougher and tougher. So one that kept popping up is a movie from 2013 called Banshee Chapter. It's Banshee, like the Banshee. Banshee Chapter. What a hard name to say.
It's a weird title.
It is a very weird title. Written, directed by Blair Erickson. Again, 2013. So this movie's like, it's part found footage, part like traditional narrative. And it's all about this mind-altering drug. And this mind-altering drug is taken by this guy who gets it from like, he gets it from this like counterculture author played by Ted Levine, who's incredible in this movie. He's so good. Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lambs, if people recognize that. He's so good, and he's like this kind of kooky out there author who like lives off the grid type of thing. And he's messing with these mind-altering drugs as well. But like he teams up with this investigative journalist who she's on the search for her missing friend. And like she at some point ends up taking this drug too, and so does Ted Levine. And like there's like this, it's like a weird espionage conspiracy movie about this mind-altering drug. And it's about like the government might be after them, or it might be like their mind is tapping into another world with this drug. Like it's so weird. This movie's so weird. And again, it's mixing like found footage with like traditional narrative mixed with like their like newspaper files and stuff like that. It's a very kind of experimental narrative film in a way. It's a ton of fun. Nobody's talking about this movie. Again, there are some like genuine jump scares in it. There's some good tension. Again, it's like it's a great like what is this movie about type of movie. Where it's like, again, you're kind of with the characters of like, this is altering my mind, very Lovecraftian, trying to understand the concept of reality that is happening around you. Highly recommend this movie. It's Very, 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 very unique.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I will add that to the watch list. That sounds very, very cool.
Yeah. It's weird.
Like,
It's a weird movie.
yeah. Okay. When you said you wished you had mind-altering substances for this, I thought you were going the other way where it was, like, really bad.
Oh,
Um,
no.
I'm curious and interested. I was looking it up on IMDb and the the, like, still images, some creepy shit in there.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. It's like From Beyond mixed with like more Lovecraft, mixed with found footage, mixed with like X-Files.
Yeah,
It's super
that's
cool.
awesome.
It's super cool.
Okay.
Again, Banshee chapter. And then I only have two other movies that I watched. It was Halloween, so happy post Halloween to everyone. We're on
Yeah.
our Halloween hangover right now. So we watched two movies on Halloween night. One we were planning to. It was kind of like our Halloween plans. We watched 1995's all-time classic, Casper.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this movie in so long. I love this movie so much. It's so good. It it shocked me how big in scale this movie was. Like it feels very Beetlejuice to me, Casper does. Where it's
Yeah.
like we have these huge sets, like the house is a big set, the outside of the house is a big set. There's a giant like where Casper's dad was like experimenting on stuff and he has like this giant lab in the basement with a giant slide that comes down from upstairs. All the rooms are like really kooky and weird and I don't know. It just feels so big, and I miss movies that feel very real and very big like this. Like
Yeah.
again, obviously Casper and all the other ghosts are CG, but
Mhm.
like everything else in this movie is all practical, and I miss that in movies. Like, let's do practical when we can do practical. Use CG when we need to use CG, but let's keep it practical when we can. The other thing I forgot is how many different plots there are in Casper.
Yeah, I
Do
haven't
you
watched this in quite a while, so
Okay.
yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the plot of Casper is, from what you remember?
I mean, all I remember is, like, Christina Ricci moves into the house and, like, has to discover the mystery of, like, who Casper is and why he's dead, right? Is that kinda what it is? Sort of?
No, no, not at all.
Oh my god. It's been
So
a long like, I'm
yeah,
talking, like, childhood since I've
s-
watched this.
same. So Christina Ricci moves in with her dad, Bill Pullman,
Yeah, Bill Pullman, right? Yeah.
and he's like a he's like a paranormal uh what would they call it? Like a paranormal psychiatrist, I guess is the best way to put it. Like he can tap into the ghosts and get them to move on in the afterlife. Because if they're stuck in purgatory of like haunting, they need to find their way of uh like finishing their task
That's
on Earth
right.
and move on to the afterlife. And so that's why he's brought on because our main antagonist and her sidekick Eric Idle, they inherit this house from this woman's like rich is it husband or uncle? I can't remember. But like she finds out that there's gold in the basement of the house.
That's right.
The dad's trying
Oh
to
my god.
get rid of Casper and the three ghosts that live in the house. Also, Christina Ricci's mom has died, so they're like trying to work that out. They eventually figure out that Casper's dad built a machine in the basement that can turn a ghost into a human because Casper died when he was a child. Also, there's two bullies in school that Christina Ricci goes to that play a prank or try to play a prank on Christina Ricci and it backfires. Like there's like 7 different plots in this movie. There's so much going on. Bill Pullman dies in this movie.
I don't remember that.
Exactly, because it just happens. So Bill Pullman like goes out drinking with the three ghosts and he like just falls in like he goes outside of a bar and like just falls into like a construction pit and dies. And he ends up flying back to the house and he forgets because apparently in the afterlife you forget who your parents or who your relatives are. He dies and ends up downstairs in Casper's house, and he goes into the machine and gets turned back into a real person. So like Casper sacrifices his opportunity for Bill Pullman to come back. This all happens within like 5 minutes of him dying, and then he gets brought back to life.
Good God, I watched this movie I don't know how many times in childhood, and I don't remember that at all.
So fast. It's so fast that
Oh my
happens.
God.
It's literally right after they defeat the villain, and there's like 20 minutes of the movie left.
What?
Yeah, I completely forgot about that too. And then the final 20 minutes is like Casper realizing like, hey, he's gonna have to be a ghost forever. That sucks. He's not gonna get the girl. Like, Casper and is it Wendy in this? Is that her name in this? Right?
Cat.
Wendy. Oh, Wendy is
Casper and Wendy is the one with like Hilary Duff.
Hilary Duff, the like sequel. Yeah.
I've seen that one within the last like 6 years.
Yeah.
And
does it hold up?
No.
Oh no.
No, it's fine. It's a fun kids movie, but it's nothing more than that.
Okay. So Casper and Cat, I think they have a nice little cute relationship. There's a point where like she's sleeping and like people think this is creepy. I think I like it. He's like, "Can I keep you?" It's like, "Oh, it's sweet. Like he has a friend now." Like,
yeah.
I don't know how that's creepy. I don't know. Maybe it's because he whispers it to her when she's sleeping, but like, I don't know.
I'm also like my grandma had tapes of like the old Casper cartoons.
Yeah.
And so I used to watch like the old Casper cartoons and like the first one where he like has a dog. He like meets a dog and the dog is friendly and it's the only person that's the only thing that's like friendly to him. And then the dog gets like fucking run over. It's the saddest thing. And the cartoon spends like 3 minutes of just Casper crying over this dead dog and like burying him. And like he walks away and then like the dog comes back as a ghost and he's like Casper's friend is a ghost. But like Casper's always fucking wrecked me, man. Like,
yeah, same.
Casper is just like such a sad, tragic character, and I love that about him.
Yep. I love Casper. We need to do a Casper episode.
We should.
I love that character so much. And like, I'm not gonna lie, at the end of this movie, I was completely misty-eyed.
Yeah. I imagine.
The movie got me. It just got me. I don't know what it was, but it got me. But Kat's mom, who is also in the afterlife, she has passed on completely, but somehow like she comes back and she speaks to Casper and is like, I'm able to grant you this one wish, and for one night tonight, you get to be human again. And he goes back and turns into Devon Sawa and has a dance with Christina Ricci. She doesn't realize it's him until he whispers, "Can I keep you?" And she's like, "Oh, it's Casper." And it's like, "Oh my God, it's so good." And then Bill Pullman gets to like see his wife one last time. And she says like, "I'm always here with you. I'm always," it's so good. The ending's so good.
It's a Jack Frost ending.
It's better than Jack Frost.
Yeah, probably. I love that movie though.
So anyway, Casper, we should do a whole episode on some version of Casper at some point. This movie is so good. I loved it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to rewatch it.
This makes me really want to revisit this one because it's one that like I said, I used to watch this a lot as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember half of that stuff you just talked about.
I didn't either.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd kind of forgotten Devon Sawa was even in it until like I'd been following him on Twitter for a long time and he'd post screenshots every once in a while of like him from that movie and I'm like, God, I always forget he's Casper. Like I always forget that,
he's Casper,
like for all of like 2 minutes of the movie, but still.
Yeah. And then the other movie we watched right after, we're like, all right, well, it's Halloween night. We got time for one more movie. What should we watch? And I was like scrolling through Hulu and I was like, hey, Rocky Horror Picture Show's on it.
Yeah.
Let's watch it. It's Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like,
I fucking love that movie.
Here's the thing, though, watching it this time. Because I hadn't watched it since we watched it at Halloween-a-Palooza and did the whole since we did the whole Rocky Horror experience.
Mm-hmm.
And people talk about this movie like it's one of the worst movies ever. Like that's the reputation it has, correct? That's the reputation.
That's the reputation, yeah. Yeah.
This is a bad, like it's not a bad movie. Like what are people talking about?
Genuinely, like love Rocky Horror
Yeah, taking
as
out all
just a
the like
movie.
experience stuff. I think it's a really fun musical homage to classic double feature monster movies, like in
Yep.
sci-fi movies. It's a great.
It's
It's great. It's
it's
incredible.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I've never understood the, "Oh, it's a bad movie." Like, I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I think it's a crazy movie for sure.
yeah.
That's part of the fun of it, though, and I'm one of the weirdos, like, I don't like the live experience as much. I,
Here's the thing: we're going to one next year. We're gonna
we
go.
should.
We're gonna go to our friends in Vermilion. I think
Yes.
we'll definitely go there. Kayla has already said I need to dress as Meatloaf, so I'm
It's
gonna dress
cool.
as I'm gonna dress as Eddie. It's gonna
I
happen.
call I call Frankenfurter in our
That's
group.
fine.
I'm definitely gonna be Frankenfurter.
That's fine. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Let's do it.
But yeah, that was my Halloween watch. Casper and then Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I love that.
How about you, Sam? What have you been doing?
So over Halloween, I actually Maria and I decided to um binge watch the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy.
Oh no.
Um I'm not gonna lie, on rewatch, all of these kind of just worked for me quite a bit. This trilogy is so strange because each movie is vastly different from the last. And all of them have flaws, but all of them also have things that they do exceptionally well. And honestly, this time around, maybe it was just the Halloween vibe. Maybe it was just like, oh, I'm just feeling these movies right now. I kind of loved all of them in their own way. I think the second one is probably the worst, and it's because that entire hospital sequence in the middle is really bad and derails the movie. Like, after that, you just don't wanna watch it anymore, and I think
What do you
that's
mean? Evil dies tonight, Sam.
oof. The part that gets me is Brackett going, "Maybe we're the monsters." I'm like, "Did you
Yeah.
really like, really? Did you have to spell it out that much for" like, it's
That
like, "Come
movie's like
on."
trying to have some sort of message, and it's like, guys, we're a Halloween movie.
Yeah, it doesn't need it. It doesn't need it at all.
Yeah.
Um, I think so the reason that the second one is probably my least favorite is for that and the fact that, like, how do you waste Judy Greer twice in a row? Like, how do you do that? How do you take Judy Greer, one of the finest character actresses, like, out there, and you cast her in a major role in Halloween. You give her one badass moment that's immediately overshadowed by Laurie in the first Halloween, and then you unceremoniously kill her after she spends her entire movie sitting around waiting in a hospital worried. Like, I just
How do you not use Fatty Magoo better than that?
Oh my god, I forgot that. Oh, she's so funny in that show. Fuck. Oh my god. See, that's the thing with
For
Judy
reference,
Greer.
she plays the character of Fatty Magoo in It's Always Sunny in
And It's
Philadelphia.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia. See, that's the thing, like, you can, like, throw a pebble at a sitcom, and Judy Greer has probably been on it, and she's probably been one of the best guest stars on that fucking sitcom.
Mhm.
Like, so good. So yeah, and I'm just gonna say it, I love Halloween Ends. I really do.
Yeah, I know.
It works for me. I, like it's such a fucking bold, weird movie that, like, totally get why it's not people's things. Like, if anybody's like, "No, that movie, not for me, pretty terrible," I get it. I also it vibes. It vibes with me. I love it.
I'm still
Um,
curious how this trilogy would have played if storyline wise we would have started with Ends and ended with Halloween 2018. Like the basic
see
story beats were that. You have an actual trilogy if you do that.
yeah, I do agree with you. I do find that fascinating that, like, it does feel like it's almost a trilogy in reverse in a way. Um But that's just kind of part of what fascinates me about it. I don't know, like, for me, like, Nothing's gonna beat the first 3 Halloween movies, like, to me, 78, the 81 Halloween 2, and then Halloween 3, like, those are my Halloween movies. Everything after, I can kinda take or leave, to be honest. But I do like the David Gordon Green ones. I really do. And I think I don't know, I think they've got some really good stuff in them. But
It'll eventually happen. We're gonna do that trilogy at some point on the show.
oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna happen.
It'll
So
probably be an October episode.
yeah.
So, yeah. Um, I watched a couple of new releases. I watched the Netflix, time travel slasher Time Cut, which actually went into production before Totally Killer. But I will say Netflix just dumping this unceremoniously on their streaming service less than a year after Totally Killer was probably a mistake. Um, because there are some just unfortunate parallels between these movies where it is like, woof, Totally Killer beat you to it. They're set in 2 different time periods. Totally Killer was the '80s. This one goes back to 2003, but it's more like '06 to '09 in certain
Mm,
aspects, and it's very much like a Stranger Things-ified version of it where it's like, yeah, this is what 2003 looked like through the lens of the Disney Channel. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, it almost feels like you're watching a Disney Channel original movie from the mid-2000s,
okay.
just with, like, a slasher. So in that aspect, it's very fun.
I
It's
say
also very s
I might like it then.
it's also very slight. Not all of the emotional beats quite work. I get what they're going for, but it's just in execution, it's a little less successful than Totally Killer, which I really enjoyed. Totally Killer also had the edge of being rated R, whereas this one is a PG-13 one, which kinda adds to the Disney Channel vibe of it, you know? I also think it kinda hurts it a little bit. Um, the central relationship between the 2 sisters is sweet. Um, and if you are a sucker for, like, mid-2000s nostalgia, you're gonna find a lot to enjoy there. There's Ugg boots, I don't know, like, that
What year is this supposed to take place?
it's supposed to be in 2003, that's what I mean, I'm like, Uggs were not a thing in
That's like an
2003,
'08.
Uggs were like a high school thing, like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, take from that what you will. I did
Okay.
enjoy it. It's a perfectly fine 3-star made for teens slasher. Like,
That's the highest rating I've seen for this movie so far.
I
It's not
I
it's not getting
I
good
en
reviews.
it's not, and I do think it's getting a little unfairly like, people are, like, really laying into it, and I'm like, "It's pretty harmless." Like,
Here's the
it's
thing. I wanna talk about Netflix for, like, 1 second, because like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't have Netflix anymore. I haven't had it since they stopped the password sharing thing.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but, like, it feels like Netflix just, like you said, unceremoniously just dropped stuff on Netflix, and you don't even realize it's there. I didn't know
yeah,
this was a thing until I started seeing it on Letterboxd.
yeah,
Like, no trailer, no fanfare, couldn't even have, like, Bloody Disgusting or Fangoria talk about this at all. It just drops there. Meanwhile, you have something like The Rock's new movie, Red One, which for a year now I thought was a Netflix movie. It's not a Netflix movie.
yeah.
Uh,
It's insane. I
I
I
don't
just
know.
I don't
Netflix's
know.
business model makes no sense to me. I don't know how
No.
Netflix is still around, to be honest.
So, I didn't mention that Time Cut is written by Michael Kennedy, who wrote co-wrote with Christopher Landon Freaky and, wrote It's a Wonderful Knife.
Mhm.
I think Time Cut is better than Knife, but everybody knows I love Freaky. It's not a it Time Cut is not Freaky. Um, you might like it more than Freaky because of the, like, Disney Channel original movie vibe that it kinda has. I don't know. I I would be very curious to hear your thoughts on Time Cut
I
because I don't know which way you would go on it
I will be getting Netflix in January
for Raw.
when WWE ends up on Netflix, so I will
Yep.
be getting it. I will watch it. I will watch it then.
It's fun. It is a diverting it's a nice diversion for an hour and a half. Like, it's fine, basically. Um, I won't talk too much about this because we have a Patreon and, we just launched it. Happy Halloween, everybody. And, I put out my first review. It was for Hellboy: The Crooked Man, which is another kind of unceremoniously dumped onto VOD movie. This one's pretty low budget. It's only got a fraction of the budget that the last one from 2019 had, which only had a fraction of the budget from the ones that the Guillermo del Toro did. Um, and with that, it's a different vibe. It's a little more lo-fi. It's definitely like I don't maybe not slow burn folk horror, but it's a quieter folk horror type of story that just happens to have Hellboy in it. And it's another movie that's maybe getting a little unfairly maligned. Like, there are budget restrictions, sure, but I really kinda dug it, and if you wanna hear more of my thoughts on that, you can, subscribe to the Patreon. I wrote a full-on review, had a lot more thoughts on it than I thought I did when I initially started writing. Um, and I'm a big fan of this character, and, especially Hellboy: The Crooked Man. It's based on one of my favorite comic book arcs from Hellboy, um, and it's very faithful to that material, so if you like that comic arc, you're gonna find something to like in this movie. So I do recommend checking out Hellboy: The Crooked Man. And the last thing, I read a book, and it's not a Bad Hand book, so we're not gonna be able to talk about it on our other podcast, The Bad Signal. So I wanted to talk about it here. Um, it ironically came out of a Bad Hand book that I really liked, Cranberry Cove by Haley Piper. I've been reading pretty much anything she's been putting out since, and she just did a new vampire novel called All the Hearts You Eat, that marries, like, vampirism with, like, the trans experience, with being trans. Um, it's, like, a little bit Lost Boys, it's a little bit Jaws, um and the way the vampires behave and interact and turn is so different than anything I've read or seen before in vampire fiction, in kind of the coolest way. There's some gnarly fucking body horror in this movie or in this book, um, and I don't know, I found it very inventive and creative, and by the end, like, with pretty much everything she writes, I was a little heartbroken, and, I like books like that. I like books that kinda leave me sad for I'm a weirdo like that. Like, I like when I finish a book and I'm like, "Not gonna be able to recover from that," you know? So this is kinda one of those. Um, it's about a woman who finds the body of a teenage girl washed up on the beach, and as she goes to investigate, like, they're in the seaside town, as she goes to investigate, she finds out that this girl is the daughter of the mayor who, and this girl is also trans, and the mayor is a bit of a bigot and is misgendering her daughter even after death. And it kind of gets into that. And there's like a mystery behind, like, well, what happened to her? And as you get further into it, um, the main character, Ivory, her own emotions, being a trans woman herself, kind of complicate matters. And it gets messy by the end. And it's like it's one of those books where, like, halfway through, you're like, "Where the hell is all of this going?" And then by the end, you're like, "Why did it have to go there?" And I don't know, it's amazing. It took me for a ride, and I really loved it, so I wanted to give it a shout out on this. That's All the Hearts You Eat by Haley Piper. Highly recommend it. The audiobook is available on Everand. That's how I read it, but I also nailed down a physical copy after listening to it because 'cause Imma be rereading this one. Heavily inspired by The Lost Boys. So, right up my
Makes sense. Right up Sam's alley.
alley. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing.
Cool. We did it.
We did it.
We did a podcast.
We made a podcast.
We made a podcast, and we stayed friends until the end.
We stayed friends. No unfriending here.
No unfriending here. Hey, if people want to unfriend the show, Sam, where can they find us online?
You know what? We've changed some stuff up. We are
in response to certain things that happened in the world in the last week.
Yeah, we're no longer on Twitter. So
X.
Don't look for us
Twitter's
there.
Dead.
Yeah. We are on Facebook, Instagram, we're on TikTok. We just started Threads and we just started Blue Sky. So if you are on either of those platforms, give us a follow. That's kind of where we'll be doing the Twitter type of stuff. When Joe Bob starts back up, that's probably where we'll be, live. I'm just gonna say live tweeting because that's what it is. We'll be live tweeting Blue Skies and Threads.
You're starting a thread.
We're threading. We're live threading.
Yep.
Yeah. So check us out on those. We're excited. I think we only have like one post up on each of them so far, but there will be more.
We have a couple on Threads.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we do. Never mind.
Yeah. Come on.
And we'll have more on Blue Sky once I build up followers and actually
figure out what it is.
So
yeah. If you like this show and you want to keep listening to us, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube as well for the video portion of this podcast. Please do so. And if you subscribe to us on any of those channels, please leave us a rating and review if you can. 5 stars is preferred. You can say bad things about us if you want. Please say nice things because we think we're pretty good at this. Yeah. But please just leave us a rating and review on any of those platforms as well. And if you're on YouTube, please leave us a comment and hit that like button on the bottom of the video as well.
Yes. You can now subscribe to us on Patreon as well if you want cool ass bonus content from Screams from the Basement. We've got 2 tiers so far. We've got our $1 tier where you will get a monthly newsletter where we kind of talk about, what's going on in the horror community, what we've got going on in the podcast, events. You'll get like what we're going to be talking about early. So if you want to do some like homework, watch along with us, that kind of stuff. Definitely check out the newsletter. I'll be revealing the 8x10 for the 8x10 signed artwork that every paid subscriber will get, signed by Casey and I. Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it so far. It's good, and the only reason it's taking so long is because I only want the best for all of y'all. So I'll have that done shortly, though. It's coming along really nicely. We also have a $5 tier where you get both the newsletter and a signed 8x10, but you get a bonus episode each month. We haven't decided what our November one is going to be. That'll be kind of fun.
I think I'm going to put up a poll on Patreon and let people decide up on the Patreon for all. I'll put it at all tiers. What the bonus episode will be. So you'll be able to decide what our November topic will be.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds great. So go on Patreon and vote for our November topic when we get that poll up. You'll also get written reviews like my Hellboy the Crooked Man one, and just like general think pieces and stuff like that. We'll just kind of be posting some written work there, and we'll be doing collection videos too of all of our cool horror memorabilia, our VHS collections. Maybe like our posters and stuff. So if you want to get a look into what we spend way too much money on.
Yeah. One of those, I have one of those done that is ready to go on the Patreon. So probably by the time you're listening to this, it should be out. So mine is just an overall tour of the room. You get to see all sides of the room, not just this corner that's behind my giant head. It's the rest of the room that's completely filled with stuff.
And Casey's office is super sick, so you don't want to miss that.
Yeah. And then we're going to go deep dive into some of this stuff. The Freddy wall is obviously going to get its own episode.
Oh, hell yeah. You got to give the Freddy wall its own video. Yep. So Yeah, we'll have tons of cool bonus content, and I'm sure we'll think of more stuff as we go along because we always do. We're always looking for ways to make ourselves busier. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, you can check out our sister podcast that we host as well called The Bad Signal, which we need to
Yes.
plug here. You can check out The Bad Signal. That is the official podcast of Bad Hand Books. You guys, you can do a lot with a bad hand.
Yep.
And I know we all feel that phrase right now, so head on over to The Bad Signal. Check out our interviews. We just did one with Laird Barron, who has one of the most talked about
Yeah.
collections of short stories in horror this year. Not a
Yeah.
Speck of Light. So go check that out. I'm trying to remember, who do we have next week on?
I believe it'll be the Sarah Reed episode
Yep,
dropping next week.
yep.
For her book, The Atropine Tree, which Casey and I
Incredible
both
book. Incredible.
fucking loved.
If you love
Um,
Del Toro,
yes.
that's the
Yeah.
book.
It's dark fantasy horror, set in like set
Turn
I
of the
mean,
century. Yeah,
turn of the century. It's so good. Yeah.
yep, yep.
Tremendous, tremendous. The final chapter makes the whole book is good, but that final chapter is just the perfect cherry on top of the story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go check
really,
out the Bad
really
Signal, check
wonderful.
out the interview. Speaking of
Yeah,
interviews, we should also plug these because we have some pretty big interviews this month.
we
Last
do.
week, you can
Yeah,
go check it out. It's up on all of our streaming channels and our YouTube as well. We have from VHS Beyond. He directed the segment Dream Girl,
yeah,
Virat's pal. Like that's one of the directors of a VHS movie. For us, that's pretty big because we love
that
that
was
series so
cool.
much. He's also a fan of the show, so shout out if you're listening to the show. We loved having you on. We can't wait to do it again because yeah, he was telling us about some of the upcoming projects he's working on as well, and
Yeah,
he gives us like the lowdown on how these VHS movies get made, which is, I mean, if you're a fan of the series, that's one of the most fascinating things you can kind of hear the
yeah.
BTS on.
It's such a great interview. Like we had a blast talking with Virat, and yeah, I can't. Well, it's already out, but I hope people are listening
Yeah,
and
go listen to
enjoying
it
it.
if you haven't yet.
Yeah,
And then next week, we won't be here, but we'll be here, but we've already been there, if that makes sense, because we recorded an interview with a returning guest, Joe Bandelli from the Hell House LLC franchise. He actually joins us from the set of Hell House LLC 5. They're
yeah.
filming right now. He joined us from the set of that new movie to talk about his latest, Another Cabin in the Woods movie, which is out on Tubi right now if you're listening to this podcast. So please go check out his new movie, Another Cabin in the Woods, up on Tubi. Tubi, 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 Tubi,
Mhm.
that app. Go check it out and then check out our interview with him
Yeah.
next week. Again, from the set of Hell House 5.
Yeah. So watch it on YouTube because you get kind of a glimpse at what Hell House is gonna look like, at least in one room.
Yep. Yep. And it's a
So
room you might recognize if you've seen those movies.
mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, it was such a good interview too. Like, we really get into the process of editing. It's a really funny movie, so we talk about, like, mixing horror and comedy, at length.
Yep.
It's yeah. It's a banger.
It's a
So,
banger. Also, Sam, I got to bring this up before I'm about to hit our kind of our outro music talking about the
mhm.
Prescribed Films Podcast Network. They got me
Yeah.
thinking. They got me thinking, Sam. The guys at Attack of the Killer podcast, who are godfathers, the forefathers of the Prescribed Film Podcast Network,
Yeah.
called this out on their show.
Yeah.
I feel like we poisoned their show. Like that's the vibe I got.
We did. You know what? We'll take credit for it. We have single-handedly spiraled Attack of the Killer podcast into teeny
Nonsense.
bopper horror
Yeah.
and family nonsense. Um,
They just did an
between
episode on Disney Channel original movies, and it sounded like they were tortured to watch them. And I'm like, that's my jam.
yeah, they're you know what? It's okay. We're broadening those guys' horizons.
Exactly.
They don't know how good horror that's not for grown adults can be.
The Basement Boys, No Ball, and we're teaching the Attack of the Killer podcast, gentlemen, about
yeah.
ball. So anytime those guys want to come on over here and teach us some ball, well, we're our court's wide open. The basement's open. The door to the basement. You just come on down. We're waiting for you. So if you guys ever want to come on the show,
don't be stuck up, welcome. Guys. Come on our show.
Yeah, come on our show. It's not like we're already planning something and it's going to happen next month, but
yeah,
come on in.
You have to subscribe to Patreon to know that.
to find that out. Anyway, yeah.
Cut that.
Cut that. No, speaking of cut that, Sam, we're going to cut this episode. Again, go check out our buddies at Attack of the Killer podcast, especially their last episode. They give us a little grief in it, and all in good fun. We had fun listening to it.
Yeah.
But Sam, this has been fun talking about the Unfriended movies.
It's been a nice respite from the rest of this week.
It has been. This has been a blast, and I don't want this to end, but we gotta end the show because it's almost been at 2 hours. We gotta do it. So Sam, give us that sign off.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and sweet screams.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.